Welcome to King of Seas. In this video we're going to be reviewing the game and I'm going to let you know if I feel it's worth the money or not. And this one is actually really tough. I would say it's pretty much my hardest review to date because I haven't started doing them too long ago and I haven't done too many games. So what we're going to do is jump into it and we'll see what the game's about. So starting off, very beginning. There are different difficulties, although the one that has permadeath isn't available. I'm not sure if that was due to never playing the game before, or if that's because they have an early access roadmap, even though it's a full release on Steam. The game has voodoo stuff in it. There's like different fire cannonballs and you can put spells and use abilities and stuff. And I don't think it really fits into a pirate game. I thought the elements were quite cool, but I'm on the fence because voodoo pirates, I don't really think they match personally. In every port you go to, there will be a carpenter, there's a bank, a tavern. There are a couple of things, I think there was governor and cove or something that were greyed out the whole time. But a carpenter will repair your ship and sell parts like cannons, sails and different crews for your ship. They will also buy parts off you that you find and that are spare, the ones that you're not using. The bank can be used as a stash and accessed from any port in the game, and I would say to make sure you utilise this as your cargo fills really fast from looting. Some ships will have better cargo capacities in this game, but the bank does seem to be endless as far as I've played, which I absolutely love because you can save all your resources in there and just take them out when you need them. And then the tavern will let you buy more crew members, and it also has a notice board which will give you new side quests. Throughout my playtime, every radial wheel in the game seems a little bit clunky. Using the analog stick does not keep it on your selection. When you do take a side quest from a notice board at a tavern, it will add it to your logbook, in which you can track and change quests between the main and the side quests in this game, and you are only allowed to hold up to 10 side quests at one given time. There is also a talent tree in this game because it's an RPG pirate game. The talent tree will let you spend points on different things like increasing the speed of your ship, the health of your sails or the damage of your cannons, and even has a final talent that will increase your chance of finding rare items by 50%. There is lots of different loot in the game. You can find it from crates that are in the sea, you get stuff that's on land. There's even shipwrecks and stuff that you can loot, and your cargo will build up very quickly. That's why I said to utilise the bank. One of the things I don't like about this game is when I went to a port to continue on a quest, I came out and there was a ship that was attacking me before I went in. I came back out and that same ship didn't move. It literally never left. It locked onto me and that was it. It was set and it was out to kill me. So when I raised my anchor, left the port, I instantly died with no way of getting out of it. And on the part of dying, you will die a lot in this game, or at least I did when I was using the sloop at the very start of the game. I would definitely, if you do decide to play this game, recommend playing on a difficulty not too high to begin with, and then once you're experienced you can always try a higher difficulty. There is quite a learning curve to winning battles, and sometimes I've gone quite far away from friendly sort of areas, and I've dragged the enemy ships all the way back to get the plunder ships to help me out, because they will literally just lock onto any enemy ship. And especially when you are facing higher level enemy ships like pirate hunters, trading ships and stuff, the better the loot, so you want to be trying to take them out as well. One thing I recommend is to not start trouble in a port, otherwise they will attack on sight. They have like turret defenses and stuff. They hit very hard in the early levels due to their defenses being level 35 plus, and if I remember correctly, I saw all the way up to level 60. It took about an hour and a half of me playing to reach level 15, so the level system wasn't at first too grindy. However, it started getting longer and feeling more tedious to level up as I progressed with the game. The art style in this game is cool, the sound effects and music is nothing special, but it's not bad. It just fits the game, it's pirate-like music and stuff. There is also a kraken in the game which will randomly spawn when you're out sailing. There is kind of like splashes where there's no fish, and that's where the kraken like spawns most of the time. And it hits you really hard, and no matter your level. And you can't scare it off with your cannons, you can't damage it so that it doesn't damage you or anything like that. You have to take that hit if you get too close. The enemy balancing feels really off early in the game. Sometimes you can take down a ship a few levels above you, and some ships will feel really overpowered. There's a Royal Navy commander early in the story that you need to take down, but even being a few levels above the Royal Navy commander, it hits really hard, and I totally understand that there's strategy to battles and stuff, but it seems that some enemies are really overpowered, because no matter what gear you're using, what level you are, some will just absolutely obliterate your ship. As well as being overpowered, the AI are actually quite dumb, because there are explosive barrels floating around in the sea, and if you go around them and then follow the line straight past them, the AI will literally just sail into the explosive barrels. They take quite a lot of damage from them. And another thing that really annoyed me, I'm going to get to most of the things that annoyed me at the end of the review, but one thing that really annoyed me was there is literally one spawn point in the amount of time I played, around 7.5 hours. There was one spawn point, being Eagle's Den, which is all the way at the top right of the map, and you have to stop your ship to repair. So if you're in mid-battle towards the bottom of the map and there's something you need to do down there, you better escape or win that battle. Because if you really do need to be down there and you lose, then you're back to the top and you have to sail down back to that quest again. And for some reason, it feels like quests are really, really far away from the port that you spawn. Kind of feels like it was designed like that to keep players in the game for longer. There are 3 camera distances in the whole game, being close, medium and far. There's no rotation at all with the camera, it's basically top down, and I personally feel rotation should have been a feature. Especially because you're out at sea, you need to check your surroundings and stuff for enemy ships, and a lot of the time, you can't see them coming. There are absolutely no different weather types in the game, it's always clear weather, but it will cycle between day and night, and I feel rain at least would have made this game so much better. If you're playing an RPG like this, you kind of want it to feel like you're out at sea, whether you're a pirate or just a standard sailor. You want it to at least feel like you're out at sea, and some of the best storms actually happen out at sea. So to not have a single different weather effect than clear weather was a little bit off-putting. I got very scared of spending gold, because after I took down the Royal Navy Commander, which was part of the main quest line early on, the game forces you to buy a flute, which is a different ship. And yes, it's more durable, it's got a much bigger cargo capacity, but I was 20,000 gold away from buying a galleon, which I really, really wanted. And this flute just set me back 20,000 gold. And yep, do not spend your gold, because not too much later in the main quest line, the game will force you to spend 100,000 gold, and you're pretty much spending it for nothing. After spending the gold, you're then locked out of main quest progression until you are level 35. I did this at I think level 30, and it gets more and more XP needed per level as you progress through the game, so having to get 5 levels at level 30 is quite a tedious sort of thing to do, and they just completely lock you out of main quest stuff until you're level 35. I mentioned earlier that the enemies felt overpowered early on. In the sloop, the survivability wasn't great, but the flute that I was forced to buy felt much better, and I was surviving a lot more. I did come across a volcano in the game, which actually erupted. The big lava meatballs were quite cool, although I wouldn't have said the same thing if one hit me. And I literally come across one and explored, I'm going to say, at least half the map. When you are looting a shipwreck in the game, sometimes the sound bugs out and you can hear the birds only in the left side of your headphones. Turn it round, you can only hear them in the right. It's like they separated the channels for the birds in certain areas. Basically, there's sound bugs. But it does return to normal once the loot's being retrieved, so it can be irritating. Sometimes you don't hear your explosives going off, but the game will return to normal. It'll fix itself once the loot's being retrieved. And then this is where I'm just basically going to, after like the first thing, I'll let you guys know, but basically there's a lot that put me off this game. So after buying a galleon, because I did eventually get one, the game did feel a lot easier for combat. Survivability felt good against multiple ships at the same time, and damage was much better. So all round, the better your ship, the better your survivability, damage output, stuff like that. So it does eventually get better. It's just I feel the sloop could do with a little bit of a buff. Now, the things that really put me off this game is the main quest progression being locked to just taking down part of the Royal Navy. There's nowhere near as many different quests as I feel there should be, and the progression feels really grindy. with one quest requiring you to hand in 160 medicine, just to be told to take down 3 Royal Navy commanders that have names based on the ship they are sailing. They didn't even come up with names for these commanders, they just named them after the ship they're in. After playing for several hours, I never once got my hands on a treasure map, yet I did find a few random X sort of marks at the spot locations that gave decent loot. And I think I reached like level 30 or 31 or something. I feel I should have definitely had a treasure map by then. There is absolutely no respecing your talent tree in this game, so if you are playing, make sure that you know which talents you do want. I ended up going with the middle tree to output better damage and stuff. However, I was wanting to look at the top tree, but because you can't respec, I just went with damage. When I bought the flute early on after being forced into it by a quest, the game states that the carpenter can use the gold to stock up with new ships, but there are never any different ships available, and you can only buy ships from Eagle's Den. You can't go to any other friendly port and buy a ship. And then the final note before we get to like the conclusion sort of thing, it took me until level 28 to get my hands on a fishing rod, and I'm a big fan of fishing. There are so many different fishing spots in the game, so I went to the Steam discussions before I actually had my hands on one. People were mentioning you can either progress with main quests, as the side quests are literally just sinking commanders, escorting ships and delivering goods to different ports. They never ever really change throughout the entire game. Or you can travel to the other side of the map and you can get one from a restaurant, which is well out of the way from everything you are doing, and it's a risk because of the enemy ships typically being faster than you. There is a restaurant, I'll show you on screen now exactly where it is on the map. I don't know if you can get a fishing rod from here without the quest progression. Someone mentioned the bottom left of the map, and this is like top middle. So I don't know if this is the restaurant they were talking about or anything like that. If you're playing, you're going to have to check for yourself. But here's the map location just so you guys can see. I do feel that getting a fishing rod and like getting that far into the main quest line to be able to obtain one, I feel that's far too late into the game. Although that is kind of my inner fishing fanboy talking. But let me know in the comments if you think level 28 is too long to get a fishing rod in a pirate-based game. I feel it could have been a bit faster, but I was doing side quests and making sure I was the right level to take down the main quest ships and the Royal Navy commanders, the Royal Navy commander and that Royal Navy commander, because that's pretty much all you bloody do in this game. After obtaining the basic rookie rod, I found that I could barely see fish anymore. They were everywhere before I got a rod, get a rod, can't see them. And most of the time when I did come across a school of fish, they were green and even now blue rarity, requiring expert or legendary rods, both of which I didn't have, and when I was lucky enough to find a white school, or a white rarity school, they were never the fish I needed. I fished for at least half an hour in this game, and I found 2 out of the 4 species needed to get the expert rods to finish off that quest. And we're going to wrap it up now. I do not know how the console or the Switch experience is going to feel, because the game is available on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch and PC. But I do feel on PC it should be around £12 to £15. It costs £20, but I feel it should be at least 25% cheaper. And I feel that way on PC because the game doesn't even have full keyboard and mouse support. I had to plug in my controller to play this game because it doesn't support a mouse at all. There's like keybinds and stuff, you can't do anything with them at the moment. There are keybinds there, but there's no mouse use at all. So I plugged in my controller. It even states at the start, like, the best sailors use controllers or something like that. So the game was designed to use a controller. But this game is also being sold as a full game. If you go to the Steam store page, it does not state it's early access. And apparently it is early access because they have an entire roadmap, which includes a PC tech update, which they've said is coming at the end of June, and a quality of life patch further on, with a monsters update scheduled for later on as well. So having a roadmap, not having support for keyboard and mouse, I feel it's early access, and it doesn't state it is, but people in the reviews have said it's early access too. And that's the reviews on the Steam store page. People are talking about this, saying it's early access, it's got a roadmap, there's no support, blah blah blah, and they're charging £20 and listing it as a full release. So I feel it should be about £12 to £15. I am not in any way saying it's a bad game at all. I did thoroughly enjoy the roughly 7.5 hours I spent on it, I also do have to thank Keymailer for hooking me up with the key. The main thing is that the game works. I didn't encounter too many bugs besides like sound bugs and stuff, and I got irritated with the progression blockers in terms of having to be level 35, needing a certain amount of gold, not actual like bugs and broken progression blockers. And my inner like pirate and sailing and fishing fan really wants to recommend this game so badly, because even though I felt there were some issues with the gameplay, I'm still willing to play the game. It's not that I'm going to drop the game and never play it again. I actually lost track of time playing this game so many times. I did like 3 or 4 different sessions, and I was losing track of time the entire time I was playing. As I said, around 7.5 hours with the game, but it just, in my opinion, doesn't feel worth the full price. So I am not going to recommend this game. I feel, in my opinion, that it is not worth the money they are charging for it. As much as I would love to, because I love fishing, I love the whole sailing and pirate sort of thing, like design they've put behind this game. Absolutely love it. But because of the lack of support and the issues and stuff I've mentioned, I'm just not going to recommend it. I don't think it's worth that money. So what we're going to do is leave the video there. That's my review for King of Seas. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about it in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed it.